morning. Great turnout. Appreciate everyone coming out. And we've got a great program for you today. And so excited about everything that's going on in town. And I appreciate everyone coming. A lot of new faces that people haven't seen before. But it's great. And the program that we've got, we're going to get right into that. It's so many people that are going to be speaking. But I'm going to introduce Ellen Lewis, the president of the Leonardtown Business Association. So.
Leonardtown is hot, right? From sleepy little town to look at us now, right? How does this happen? How do we get there from here? How did we get there? I'll tell you, it is because we have people working together. The town, the business community, the business association, economic development, tourism, and our sponsors. It is our sponsors that have laid the foundation for some of our signature events. I would love to have Marvin Osler, Rodney Gertz, and Jimmy Hayden up on the stage, please. Quality Built Homes and Mark Homes have been continuous $5,000 sponsors for many years. It is their generosity that has laid the foundation for the signature events that you know and love in Leonardtown. Christmas on the Square, First Fridays, Small Business Saturdays, the Summer Music Series. And last year, Jimmy Hayden came forward with a $10,000 donation to establish a new concert series, Music on the River's Edge, and has pledged to do the same this year. Gentlemen, on behalf of the Leonardtown Business Association, I would like to present you with a small and long overdue token of our appreciation for you. Marvin, Rodney, and Jimmy. You guys are rock stars. Thank you so much. I am so proud of Leonardtown. You know, I am proud of everything that has been accomplished. A vibrant destination and a thriving business community. And I'm proud of the Leonardtown Business Association and what we do. We are a resource for your business. We work closely with the town to advocate for policies that make Leonardtown a welcoming business environment and supportive for existing businesses. We offer educational resources, networking opportunities, and much more. We are a voice, we are your voice to the town. So if you have a business in Leonardtown, or you are thinking about opening a business in Leonardtown, which I hope you are, and I hope you do, please think about the Leonardtown Business Association as a resource for you. You don't have to go it alone, because it's together that good things happen, right? So, thank you very much, and I would like to introduce, speaking of the person who makes good things happen in Leonardtown, would like to introduce the one and only Michelle McKay.
What a great crowd. This is my favorite meeting of the year. It's always so positive and so energetic, and everyone leaves with such a good feeling, and it really is about partnerships, and that's what I love about this job. This is actually our 12th State of the Town event, so it's going to be a little different, though, than any of the ones that you've been to before, if you've been to one of them. We have 6 speakers who have recently made the decision to invest in town or to reinvest in town and grow this beautiful theater. And I've asked them if they would just, well, they graciously offered, or with a little push. They're going to tell us a little bit about why they wanted to invest in Leonardtown and what is it that makes it important to their business to be in an atmosphere like this. We also will have a short presentation from Visit St. Mary's, and St. Mary's County Economic Development. And then after that, we have our amazing consultants from Mahan, Rykell, and Arnett, Muldrow. They're here to update us on the next phase of the downtown plan and our waterfront plan. And we're going to roll out our retail recruitment package. We have literally been working on this package for probably 10 years. It really has been an evolution, and we're so proud of what we've come up with, and that we're at a point where we really can go ahead and get this out and try to get more retail into town. I think it's all important to all of us as we continue to make Leonardtown an even more exceptional place. So, our first, we have the one and only Jerry LaRue, owner of Shepherd's Oldfield Market.
Good morning, everybody. I am really excited I would consider myself one of the pioneers here in Leonardtown, although Lachelle did say that this is our 12th state address. Well, I've only been here for 5. So I just wanted to say that I started off by renovating and flipping a few houses in Leonardtown for the young kids, something that they could afford around the $200,000 mark, and of course 2 of them are inhabited by my children. So while I was doing that, I came across the Leonardtown hardware store. I am just a sucker for old buildings. I just love them. And I remember going by the building and saying to my husband, I know exactly what I want to do with this. And he said, can you share what you're smoking with me? He said, it is going to be terribly hard. Although hard is a 4-letter word in my vocabulary, it's one of my best ones. Dirty mind. So I went to Lachelle and told her about this concept that I had, which to begin with was to create a community catalyst for people to start getting together. We seem to have lost that. 5 years ago we did, and people are looking at their phones, they're not smiling at people down the street, and also to give young entrepreneurs an opportunity to start a little something and see if it works, instead of having to invest a lot of money into starting their business. So I started with Shepherd's Oldfield Market. And why is it called Shepherd's Oldfield Market? Because I've often been asked if I'm Mrs. Shepherd, and I say no. Shepherd's Oldfield was one of the original donors to Leonardtown back in the 1600s. So I did some research on there because I think it's extremely important, especially for those of you that are considering coming into Leonardtown, to keep that history. We cannot get rid of that history. We have to preserve it. So that's what I did, and of course the building is on Shepherd's Oldfield, and started with the name. Now, Brewter Garden kind of came along later when I was completely exhausted, and my sons and my husband decided that they were going to open up a place, but I wanted it to be community-based, not just another bar, not just a place where people just come in and drink and tell you their problems and sit at the bar. So I'm so proud. My number 2 son designed the place. The beer garden, it was a concept we took from Florida. And my number, Gabriel, I call them numbers, I have 1, 2, 3, 4. So Gabriel designed the beer garden for us, and it has turned out to be an absolutely exceptional place with family and dogs and friends. It's just been, like Lachelle said, 200% over what my expectations were. But most of all, the important part of it is after Lachelle gave me the deer in the headlights look of what the heck are you going to try to do? She finally went to the West Coast and saw a little bit of what it was that I was trying to do. Basically an indoor mall. The town of Leonardtown has been absolutely fantastic in guiding me and helping me and facilitating a lot of the things that, that some of the ideas that I have come up with. Although some of them are really out of this world, but you know, the health department says, why do you always have to come up with something that I have never ever thought about before? So the challenge has been there for them, not for me. I go to bed thinking of ideas. I get up and everybody has to deal with me. But the success of Shepherd's Hole Field is, of course, our customers. But not only that, but the 99 vendors, the 99 small businesses that we have started in the market to start off their dreams and see if it works at a very low cost. So I encourage you, yes, please come into Leonardtown. The more the merrier. You know, when that tide rises, we all float. So I appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Jerry. Our next supporter our next presenter has been an incredible supporter of Leonardtown, as you saw earlier, Mr. Rodney Gertz. He questioned a little when we asked him to do the first neo-traditional development back in 2002. He's like, what? But quickly he got on board and has done amazing things in Leonardtown ever since, and we really appreciated it. And just a little shout out also, he had a little birthday yesterday, so happy birthday, Rodney. Mr. Gertz, come on back.
Good morning. I'd just like to say, this is probably, if you've spoken to these a couple times, but it's going to sound like a broken record, but Leonardtown is like one of the most amazing places you can find. And it's not due to, we're blessed to be part of it, to be able to provide homes and housing and build these communities together, you know, through the town and through working with the folks of the town. And as she had just said, like it's such a collaboration, and it's not like it's, hey, come down and do what you want. It's like we're really focused. I've Leonard's Grant, I was like, all these paths, we're gonna build fields, are people gonna actually use this stuff? Or it really, and it's amazing. I go down there and see when people are out doing things, and you know, just all over the community. It's so nice to see something for us as a builder and developer. I know with the other folks in the room that are, like, your dream is to create something where we put, you know, asphalt down and we put sticks and bricks together and we build houses. That's all we can do. Collectively, you know, you and people who live within the houses have to make them homes, and collectively, all the homeowners have to make a community. And then collectively, the communities then make the town. And Leonardtown is a dream of that. It really is. It's such a collective, great group of people you work with. I mean, Ellen, the LBA is amazing. You know, working with the town, from every person who works within the town, just it's I don't know, it's just more welcoming than you could ever imagine, and it's a gift for us to be able to actually be part of it. I love the communities that we have created, just talking about what Meadowstown run, the continuing phases. Leonard's Grant's definitely a crown jewel of ours, and Meadowstown run the current phase. It's just all I want to do is thank you guys. People live, eat, breathe every day. I don't do that. You know, I live in Calvert County, but when I come here, it's just special. I mean, and it's you. It's the people that live, eat, and breathe here every day. The businesses, the small businesses. That was amazing when it opened. Your facility, and to see how it functions together, and how the town and the LBA collectively work to make it all function together and make it truly has created one of the nicest communities anywhere, not just in, you know, Southern Maryland, isn't that, but literally anywhere. And so I just thank you for allowing us to be part of that, more so than anything. So thank you.
Thank you so much. Billy. Next up is Billy Gibson. He's the owner of the Bell Building. He is a newcomer, but every single time I ask him about something, he doesn't even blink. He's on board all the way, and I really appreciate it, and he was not happy to do this morning, but he and his wife, Becky, have incredible energy and are already creating such a great addition to Leonardtown, and I just wanted him to say a few words about that.
Hello. She said, I'm Billy Gibson, not a public speaker at all, but Becky and I came to Leonardtown. So we started a metal fabrication business some years ago, started at the house, ended up moving to Calvert County. Got looking around to expand. We looked in Hollywood, we looked down the park, we looked in Charles County, we looked everywhere. And we were looking at doing some rental over here to hold us over. Got working with the Bell family, working with Lachelle, and I went in and talked to Lachelle a couple times, and I walked out, called the wife, and I was like, we found our home. Just what happens here in Leonardtown is amazing. Since then, we've cleaned up, we've moved in. The town of Leonardtown, for anybody looking to move a business here, is amazing. The networking, when we started, we did work and all our stuff went to Northern Virginia and Washington, D.C., and it was all commercial, big stuff. Now the networking and the people we've met through Leonardtown, we built shelves for people's garages and, you know, stuff for anywhere from that to the stuff we just did for the Air Force Memorial. But like the networking and the people of Leonardtown are amazing. It's just the foot traffic. Like when I left last night to leave work, the Rex is packed, all the people in the circle out here. It's just a community of, and I grew up here. I mean, my mom worked at the bank for 36 years. We bought all our vehicles from Bell's. It's just, we went to Rykell. I mean, just, we were from here. But once we got here, the old building, the history, and the people here in Leonardtown, it's amazing. It's just, I'm kind of speechless because I'm floored with the foot traffic. And she started the Leonardtown market, and kind of like Jerry's idea. She came to me and she had this idea, and I looked at her like, are you crazy? It's just, whatever, you know, I figured it was going to be a hobby on the weekend. They're packed. There's so much traffic here in Leonardtown and so much sales and retail and the restaurants. You go to Sean's and they're lined out the door at Social for coffee in the morning. It could be a Tuesday morning and the chairs are packed over there and there's people here. I'm amazed. There's a lot more I wanted to say, but just the town of Leonardtown is amazing. It came to us. We got a lot more plans. We have Rena Nash. We have Flower now. Miss April, can't even think of the name of her. But with the furniture, we're putting in the containers. So we have plans. It'll be room for 24 small businesses, all self-contained, their own containers, the heat and air. It's kind of like they did in the Vegas Container Mall. If you're curious, look up Vegas Container Mall. We're doing a small model of that. Actually, the first containers are here now. I just got a text, so they just got dropped off. Heat and air, fully finished inside, you know, floors, walls, LED lighting, electric, your whole deal. You're on your own meter. It's a vision she had with this market. It's going to be a courtyard in the middle for activities for dads and kids to do stuff while mom's walking around. So, you know, we all need babysitters. Probably the guys more than the kids. But just, if you're a business and you're curious about Leonardtown, just come here on a Friday afternoon or walk around here on a Saturday. Or, I mean, even during the spring and all, just come walk around. Look during the day at all the people and all the activity. It's amazing. So that's kind of my thoughts. I thank y'all for everything, and anything we can do to help, please come see us.
Thank you so much. Our next presenter is Yvonne. Yvonne Jackson. He is the owner of Yvonne Aries Realty and also Antoinette's Garden. He is energetic and always on board with anything that he's asked, as you can see from his Mad Hatter costume up there. I didn't single him out though. Some of the rest of us actors are in the room as well. So thank you, Yvonne.
Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning.
Man, that's more like it. Hey, but no, for me, Leonardtown is special because I feel at home. You know, I started coming here 15 years ago at the Rex, and on a Friday night, there would be 5 people at the bar, right? That's how slow it used to be around here. But it was a place for me to go and relax. And the 5 people, we actually called it the Leonardtown Gang. We would go from the Rex to the pub to the Rex. That was our journey. And it was a great journey. I still see the same guys, the Leonardtown Gang, right? 15 years later. That's beautiful. Being around the people, just being in this room, it's a solid community here. I'm not a big speaker, so bear with me. But it's a real solid community. And again, feeling home and doing business in one place, that's what makes Leonardtown special. We have to honor the tradition. We have to honor the people because they come to relax. And again, if you can relax, be at home, great community, and do business in the same place, that's the American dream.
These guys are so great. Next up is Katie Folger. Katie purchased the Bank of America building in early March. And if I had a nickel for every inquiry of when something was going in that bank, I would be rich. But something is going to happen now, and we are very excited for that. Katie is quite impressive, and she has a great story of why she decided to come to Leonardtown. Katie?
All right, so before I get started, I just want to say, please don't judge me on my last name. I'm not a big 5, I know. But I do actually have roots here. My mom's side, she can trace it back to like the Civil War and when we settled in St. Mary's County. So Drury was the main last name. There's some Bulls in Mattingly, so now that I have your attention. So I started looking into Leonardtown, probably for a lot of reasons other people do. To live, you know. I live in Mechanicsville now. I grew up in Charles County and I went to St. Mary's Rykell. And I work in the mortgage business, so I work in mortgage lending and property management. So there's about 15 rental properties in Charles County, one over in here that I manage. And mortgage lending is really interesting. It's a lot of numbers and patterns, and a lot of people kind of think, oh, well, that's okay, that's cool, it's finance. But you get to meet some really amazing people, and what we do specifically is we help people who otherwise would be turned down or otherwise wouldn't qualify for whatever reason, whether they make $1 million a year or $5 a year. So when I was looking into Leonardtown, as one does, I started looking on the town website, and I saw the community redevelopment plan. And I just started reading through that, 200 or so page PDF or whatever it is, and looking at the maps and everything. And I was just like, oh my gosh, this is like a civil engineer's dream. Like, this is a playground for a civil engineer, someone who wants to go in and redevelop a place. And geographically, it has a lot over Solomons and La Plata and other small town square type of areas in the Tri-County area that have tried to develop and have, successfully for the most part. But the actual square itself, where you have the walkability and all of the buildings facing each other, and then it leads down to the waterfront, I mean, you can't get that anywhere else in the area. So I really loved that, and I was like, man, well, if anything comes up in that square, like, now's the time, right? And the more I started researching it, I saw things like bonds being put out by the county commissioners. I started watching the videos and seeing that all of the discussions were so business friendly. And having worked with a lot of small business owners to get financing, I know what's business friendly and what's not for the most part. And I was just like, wow, this is really supportive of everybody in the area, and they're really trying to do something. And then I started looking into county land records, and I started seeing that they were buying up all this waterfront slowly over the last however many years. And I was like, oh, they're really gonna do something with this. If you guys are familiar with like Montgomery County, what it was 30 years ago, not too different probably from St. Mary's County versus the way they've developed it. And like the Kentlands, a very walkable community, a little bit more dense. Obviously, Montgomery County has gotten very dense. I don't think that'll happen here. But there's something so special about that community, and there's a reason why it's more expensive to live there than it is in PG, Calvert, Anne Arundel, everywhere else. Because they did it right. They did infrastructure first. And so I'm seeing in all of this, community development plans and things that they've already passed, they're doing the not so fun things like improving the stormwater system. So a lot of stuff that people don't think about or people don't realize when they see a town pop up overnight and there's things to do, they're like, oh wow, something must have happened in the last 12 months. Well, it's really been like 20 years. And I just kind of saw that, and I think a lot of people, maybe don't look for that information, which is fine. I mean, why would you when you have Netflix to watch, right? So I saw the Bank of America building on like the 3rd page of a Google search or whatever, and I was like, well, I haven't done too much with commercial real estate. I do help manage some properties in DC for the grandmother that is actually from here. And I was like, well, I've been watching all of this economic craziness go on since 2020. Things kind of tend to happen in the mortgage business first before they happen everywhere else. So we kind of get a preview. So the way that the rates are now and everything, it's like, okay, not sure what's going to happen in the next 12 months economically. And you see all of this office space vacancy in the cities. And then we have people working from home that previously would have been commuting into the city, and now they don't have to. And I think working remotely is really great. It's really fun. You could go wherever you want and work. You can work at home. You can work in your basement. You can work outside. You can go to Panera and work. You can go to Starbucks. You can go to social. You can do whatever you want, right? But at some point, working from home all the time, maybe not so fun, especially when your spouse does it too. I'm sure a lot of people have butt heads that way. And so there's this new sort of concept called co-working that has been around globally for probably 15 years now. New York City is definitely one of the stars in that. And it's basically a space that is open and has amenities and access to things that any normal office would have, but without the fluorescent lighting and the no talking and no eating and all of that. So it's a place where other people can get together and really make organic connections that they otherwise wouldn't have made. So I feel like Jerry said earlier, like people are always on their phones. I think people are kind of over that. I think people want to make organic connections, they don't know how. And business at its root, what it is relationships. It's relationships over common interests. So how do we support that? Well, if you get people who are doing what they're doing and they're building their life and now they have common interests, they seek those things out and they get involved, whether that be a club or I want to have this space where I can work separately, or I want to have a space where I can go in and rent out by the hour an art studio because I love art, but I don't really have a lot of stuff or I don't want to invest in stuff. So places like that is what we're building in the middle of the vault, surrounding the actual vault itself. The corner section where we see the main concrete there, that's going to be sectioned off to about 1,400 to 1,500 square feet for retail, because for all the reasons that have been said before, I think retail is huge and we need it in the area. And as it becomes more developed, every single square footage that's on that square is going to be full. And people are going to want to be able to walk around the square and past the square and through the square to get to things that they want to do and places they want to go and things that they want to buy. So we're adding that in as retail, and there's also what used to be like a small business lending office that's going to be full, and we've had a lot of interest so far, so that's really great. But yeah, I'm really excited. I affectionately say that the whole time that I lived here, I was like, I got to get out of here. Coming from Charles County and driving to Rykell every day, I was like, it's residence county. All there is houses. There is nothing to do here, right? So I left the area for college and, came back for whatever reason, and kind of like a Hallmark story, found someone, didn't leave, got married, had kids, all the fun stuff, still here, 8 years later. So instead of leaving, I'd like to help make the area what I would want it to be, instead of trying to go find it somewhere else. And I think that's really kind of the heart of everyone that's in Leonardtown. Instead of leaving their roots and going to do something somewhere else, they're building this to make it what they want to be. And everybody that I've met has really embodied that vision. And so I just want to say it's great to meet all you guys, and hopefully we can talk soon.
Thank you, Katie. Now, last but not least, by any stretch of the imagination, these two are quite a team. Even Kira has a hard time keeping them straight, but I do give her all the credit anyway. So, I looked up the definition of yin and yang to introduce these two, and it was the perfect description. Opposite but interconnected forces. And forces they are. They're also bright and great businessmen, and I don't know what I'd do without them because they're very supportive. Sean Coogan and Joe Curley.
Well, listening to Katie, she's a lot smarter than I am. I was thinking I came here because I like the brick sidewalks. I told Sean we were going to come up and grab some instruments and come forward and say, you know, we wrote a song about Leonardtown. See what you guys say, but I'm going to let him start us off.
Lachelle kind of beat me to it, but when she asked me to speak, or she actually was talking to me in person, asking me if I would speak because she just talked to Joe about speaking. And at the same time, I get a text from Joe that says, I've got an idea. And I said, let me guess, we're going to speak together. And, so probably 6+ years ago, made the decision to buy a failing coffee shop. And at the time, we were looking at a Alexandria, Old Town, that area, like all the different places that people walking all over. It just seemed like a good place to be. But we knew that we were only going to be another number there. And as we got to hanging around town, met Joe, at some point we decided to do a bar crawl. And ever since then, we formed a connection of just wanting to make this town awesome. Not just, walkability only matters if there's a reason to walk to something. And then probably, I don't know, about 2 years later, or a year and a half later, COVID happened. And the two of us sat down as they were locking everything up, what the hell are we gonna do? And since that point, it's my business, Joe's business, and Lachelle, with the town, I actually feel like it's all our business. It's a partnership between not just the three of us, there are other people in this room that work together with us. But we are so into each other's business, helping each other anytime something's needed. That's truly why anyone that's considering coming into Leonardtown should give it a thought. Also, I'll tie in with the last speaker. I don't know if it was the state of the town or one of the addresses from, not Mahan, Rykell, that was probably too long ago, but the stuff that Quality Built Homes was talking about doing, the Hamptons down at the end of Fenway, the massive amounts of residential areas that are coming into town, it just seemed like a no-brainer. This is the time to get in. And between, I don't know, Joe with creating, and we both said that we were going to talk about each other's business because we hate talking about ours. So I'm going to talk about the theater a little bit. This has been, I don't know if any of you guys got to see this place before it was done or started, but it was absolutely, actually I shouldn't use that word, but it wasn't great. But both of us saw, like, there's just a huge vision. Where is there anywhere in this area that you can have a stage set up like this, a venue where you can have 200 people? Where do you even go to dance anymore? Do people do that after they got phones? I don't know, but it's just such a cool place, and we're on about the Duke building that we're moving into. It's on the opposite end of the square, and the two of us getting to kind of look across the square at each other, knowing that the Rex is now an anchor for Leonardtown. There's nowhere else you're going to go to find it. You're coming to Leonardtown if this is what you want to do, just as I feel like what we're doing across the street. So I think I talked enough about Joe, if you want to talk about me.
Between Yvonne saying I had 5 people at my bar and you calling this a shithole, I've come a long way. No, but if you go over and look at Sean's place, when he first started and ripping things out and watching the look on his face after each wall came out, and now starting to see the vision over there and the coffee grinder and the flooring and just the way they've done the walls, you feel like you're in Northern Virginia. It doesn't feel like Leonardtown. It feels like one of those places that us from Leonardtown can be proud of, and one of those places for people who come in from out of town will say, oh, wow. So every time you see a business owner do something like that, it really becomes a feather in all of our caps. Because they come here, they go from place to place, and they just see the result. You know, we had the dream, but they're seeing the result, and people are saying, wow, Leonardtown is great. I ran into Jay Scott from Buzzy's Country Store the other day, and he said, you know, Leonardtown's cool. I said, yeah, and he said, there was 3 reasons to go to Leonardtown. My uncle used to tell me this. All of them were bad. Funeral home, the courthouse, and the hospital. So we've come a long way, and I think Sweet Bay was a great thing. When we first came to the square, people were telling us, are you sure? Are you sure? And to watch the money, for lack of a better word, rolling into town and putting in things and everything, it's just, it really makes us feel like, yeah, we did the right thing. And as much as the town office is accessible and we know all the council people and everything, there's also just this way that, like, I can get an idea and Sean can get an idea. And we can just start walking town and, hey, go over to Sweet Bay, go over to Antoinette's, go down to the pub. I got an idea. And then we go over to the town. We talk to the mayor and Lachelle and Brandy, and we say, hey, we have an idea. And next thing you know, it's in motion, and it's on Facebook. And you're watching these likes come in. And it's 1,000 likes and 1,500 likes, and you're like, wow, that really came together. And there's just a beauty of our town that we've been able to do all those things. So, and Sean's building is just beautiful.
All right, I don't have anything else to say other than I seriously, I can't say it enough, but Lachelle is absolutely amazing, and I don't think any of us would be doing this.
Wow, thank you, thank you. Let's give another round of applause for all those wonderful businesses. Thank you guys. Now I would like to introduce Barbara Sapato, AKA the Cheshire Cat, if you didn't know that in the previous slide. Barbara is the Executive Director of Visit St. Mary's. She does an incredible job. She works very closely with the town. She's actually all over the county. She does amazing things. I'm pleased to serve on the board with Visit St. Mary's, and I'm very proud of the great work that Visit St. Mary's and Barbara does for St. Mary's County.
This is a hard act to follow, okay? So I know somebody's got a birthday. I'll start out by telling you guys I had an anniversary this week. The last Monday was my 2-year anniversary of being here. So I have to stop calling myself a newcomer. Well, thank you, my fan base. The reason I mention that is that the day that I started in this job was the day that I moved into Leonardtown as well, on the same day. I don't know if anybody noticed, I was doing 2 things at once then too. The 2 months before that, I had never even heard of Leonardtown, to be really honest with you. I got here 2 years ago, we were coming out of a pandemic. The first day I drove into Leonardtown was actually a snow day. I didn't know that. I came down with a friend because I'm talking to these people about this job in a place admittedly, I'd partied at the college at St. Mary's College a few years earlier when I was in college. And so I knew that place, I knew the green door, that was it. That's all I had. I came into Leonardtown, I didn't know it was closed, and there was nobody here. And I thought, wait a minute, what does this place need with somebody telling people to come and visit it? Well, fast forward 2 months, I take the job, I move in. It is amazing. This town is amazing. I mean, everybody has said that. I don't have anything new to say about that. You guys know, and the people that are in this room that aren't from here, welcome, and welcome to the big secret. This place is amazing. This town is moving in a way that is well planned, but also really, really fast. And I've seen it in the 2 years I've been here with these businesses opening up. So I don't have much testimony. I'm going to go into what we do to help with that, because I am lucky that I have been able to hitch my little wagon to this freight train that's going on here in Leonardtown. And so I'm going to talk about my organization, not about me. So if I got my slide up, I'm going to have to refer to my slides. I didn't take any notes. This is early, you guys. This is really early. So anyway, I always like to start with the mission because it's really important to remain focused on what you're doing. And our mission is to help people come here. We design, develop, and support tourism assets and try to attract overnight visitors to the county. We do that in a lot of ways. And when I started here, everyone kept saying tourism, tourism, tourism. In this county, especially, it is more than tourism. When I started here during my interview, somebody said to me, this place is truly a destination because you either were coming here or you got lost. Nobody passes through this place. So that is a unique distinction, and that is the reason why you can remain so deeply rooted in your history and still have such a modern and forward-thinking way about your community, because somebody's not just going to drive by and stick around. You've got to come here. You've got to be drawn here like somebody like me and stick around. So we don't want to call ourselves tourism. We're calling ourselves visitourism. When I started the county, before I was even a gleam in anybody's eye, this county had been working on this for a long time. We have a tourism and hospitality master plan. The focus of that plan is to grow tourism and visitors as an economic driver in this community, because we've got a lot of great opportunities for that. Leonardtown, as you can clearly see, is on our list of the top 10 opportunities here, and it is a big one because this is not only the county seat, we all know this is the arts and entertainment district for the entire area of Southern Maryland. There isn't another one. We've got history in droves, and we've got all this new business coming up too. I'm not the newest person in the room anymore after only 2 years. That's awesome. I came from Washington, D.C., by the way. Every 5 seconds, somebody else is new there. So you don't have this old thing that goes on. So we can flip the slide. So that's who we are. So I want to share some numbers so we can understand the size of the opportunity as we talk about business. These are numbers from 2021. These are county numbers. The county had 800,000 visitors, and those visitors spent $195 million while they were here visiting for whatever reason. Here's where they spend their money, and as we think about retail and recruitment, you can see that those numbers really strongly tell you there's a lot of money here. 27% of that money is spent in lodging, 27% in food and beverage, 11% in recreation, and that number will go up if somebody would please open how about a mini golf? Is anybody into that? Okay. Retail is 14% and transportation is 21%. You can go ahead and flip the slide. So there is money. And so here's how we as an organization help support the businesses. First and foremost, our most important thing that we can offer you is a place on our website. We have 480,000 visitors every year. Our Facebook traffic is up by 238% this year. We are reaching those people that are discovering this place digitally because, again, nobody's driving by and finding you. They're finding you on the web, and they're finding this area and this story on the web, and we're those storytellers. So we can offer you business and event listings on our site. Those are free. We help with product development. We've helped in the town with doing a little bit of that here and there. We help source some grants. The town got a grant for the trolley for this year. We were helped with that. Of course, that's really Lachelle doing all of that, but I'm going to take some credit. We do, I can't see what's up there, but anyway, we do a lot of advertising, print, digital, audio advertising, all kinds of stuff like that. We offer market support. I already told you about Facebook. Hey, if anybody was here for Mull Dyer Day, when we announced the winner of the Mull Dyer cocktail contest, that post alone got 93,000 people engaged with it. This county only has 114,000 people living here, so that's a lot of people very interested in knowing where to drink. Think what you think. We can also help with travel writers, and there are a lot of travel writers that come down here because there is a lot to be talked about down here, not just the history, but what's going on and how we're moving into the future is really dynamic, and people are very interested in it. I think I have another slide. Ding, turn the page. Does anybody remember that? Okay, so we're all in this together. That's what everybody's been saying. These are some of the things that we helped with in the past. From audio ads, we helped with the trolley. We brought the wonderful Captain Phil. If you don't know Captain Phil, he's in the audience, and he is the one that's doing the sunset cruises out of the wharf. It's a great opportunity for people to get out on the water. We've got a lot of it. We help with Muldrow Day, Jazz Fest. We work with the Leonardtown Inn and a few other things. And we are committed to sharing this, to continue to share this with the town, with the world, and also to work with the town to make all of these dreams into a reality. So we are good partners. We want to, I don't know what that means. Leonardtown plus Visit St. Mary's equals success and reaching for the stars. So anyway, thank you for giving me this time, and I will be around afterwards. If anybody in this room is in the business community and has not connected with us, let's talk, because we want to be your partners in your success. Thanks.
Thank you, Barbara. Another great partner of Leonardtown is the St. Mary's County Economic Development Department. Here today to update us is the Director of Economic Development, Chris Casalemas. Chris brings great perspective and experience to the county, and we are very happy to have such a great working relationship with him and his whole team. Thank you, Chris.
Thank you, Michelle. My name's long, it won't fit up there. It's Casalemas, you see, email. I'm the Economic Development Director for St. Mary's County. So we're responsible for economic development throughout the whole county, not just Leonardtown. So economic development involves recruiting businesses, helping businesses stay here in St. Mary's County, helping businesses start, helping businesses grow, promoting the county. The success of Leonardtown is important to us. The things that you all love about Leonardtown are the things that help us recruit businesses and bring workers here. Things like, having an attractive downtown, having a walkable area, just having a sense of place that Leonardtown has is so important to bring people here. That's what, this is the only incorporated town in St. Mary's County. It's very important for us to have a place people can get out of their cars, walk, go to restaurants and bars, entertainment. There's so many things happening here, so many great events with thousands of people that come here. It's a high priority for us. When Leonardtown succeeds, St. Mary's County succeeds, so super important for us. We coordinate and work very closely with the leadership of Leonardtown. We meet regularly with Rykell and Mayor Burris just to find out what's going on and find out how we can help. So we offer our resources whenever we can. I know Catherine Stormock, my office, is here a lot. I know many of you know her. She participates in Leonardtown Business Association. We participate in any kind of committees or with consultants, which you'll hear coming up. So very important for us that Leonardtown succeeds. Anything we can do to help, and the county commissioners also help. I was remembering that Rykell came to the county a couple months ago to get a letter of support from the county commissioners for the Arts and Entertainment District redesignation. So there's a close relationship between the county and the town. Rykell also asked me to speak a little bit about going outside Leonardtown to what's happening out at the airport. Aero Park Innovation District is what's happening at the airport. If you haven't been to the airport for a while, I encourage you to take a drive out there. Very exciting what's happening out there. We've designated that area as an innovation district. So the area, the airport itself and the area around it is a innovation district, meaning the definition is it's a small geographic area of small and large businesses, research institutions, teaching institutions, public agencies. So if you go to the airport, you'll see many businesses, AirTech and Pax Aero. You'll see the University System of Maryland, Southern Maryland. You can see some slides here. USMSM, University System of Maryland, Southern Maryland. That's the mother organization for the University of Maryland. They built an $85 million building there. If you haven't seen what $85 million looks like in one building, check it out. It's half dedicated to teaching engineering students. The other half is for research for autonomous systems. So the UAS Research and Operations Center, again, testing drones. Used to have a different name, but it used to be the UAS test site. Again, the University of Maryland building. Private sector buildings. Techport is a building that we lease, and the NOC AD has a presence there. So we have NOC AD coming outside the base. Really important for us. Now you can go to the next slide. The terminal is owned by the county. We're doing some work with the terminal. The terminal is kind of the front door to the Innovation District. We want that to be a place for meeting and gathering. So we're kind of trying to make it a little more welcoming. Right now it's not very welcoming. You drive by, it doesn't look like a whole lot. So we're working with some of these great consultants, which you'll hear from in a minute, to help us improve that area. And just a lot of, there's been a lot of hangers. SN Aero's done a lot of work out there for the private sector. It's really a public-private sector collaboration. So we've tapped, some of the consultants have done so much good work here in Leonardtown, we've tapped them to help us in the Innovation District. You'll hear from them. They came up with our branding, and they're also helping us with some of the specific things like with the terminal. So the last thing I'll say is, and I've said this before, the town of Leonardtown is great. I've been here for 8 years. What's interesting to me and what's really compelling for me to get involved, and our office to get involved, is Rykell, the mayor, the commissioners here. They're not happy with, I mean, I say not happy. They like what's happening, but they're not resting on their laurels. They're not saying, hey, Leonardtown is great, we're just going to sit back. They're always looking for how can we improve the town of Leonardtown. Public investment, ideas, you know, like you've heard from all the businesses, somebody has an idea, they're not staying away from government, they're going to government and saying, hey, how can you help us make this a reality? So the fact that they're always hungry to make improvements is important for us, and we want to continue to help them on that journey. So thank you.
Thank you, Chris. All right, now I'm going to turn this over to Tom McGilloway of Mahan Rykell, and he will be joined by Trip Muldrow of Arnett Muldrow. I do want to give a little shout out to Sean Turpak, who's here with them also. He is the brains behind the wayfinding signage and our beautiful logo, and you saw it everywhere today. He loves coming to town and seeing some things that he designed everywhere he goes, and now even out in the county, as you see at the airport. So thank you, Sean. These gentlemen and their team have helped guide us with our downtown strategic plan for the last several years, and many of you have met them and worked closely with them through this process. So Trip and Tom, you want to take over?
Thank you. So we're the outsiders here, but we work all over the country, and we truly feel like we're coming home when we come back here. Like Jerry, our experience with Leonardtown dates back to maybe 5 years or so. I got a call out of the blue from Rykell, say, hey, we're looking for someone to help us out down here, and we're so glad that we jumped at that opportunity. I want to tell you, so many people in this room hit on some things that I wanted to talk about. We recently submitted our planning work for a state award and won a state award for the work in Leonardtown that we're very proud of. And I think one of the things, I don't think it's necessarily the planning work that we've done. It's what Ellen said, the spirit of cooperation, working together, the partnerships. I think it's the story of Leonardtown is what won the award, because when you plan something here, things get implemented. Joe said things get, there's a lot of motion, things happen in motion, and we see that here. So I wanted to just go through some of the story we told for this award submission. First, a strong track record here. I really appreciate Katie's words about the history of planning, that actually people pay attention to planning. Things don't happen overnight. And then, as Chris said, Leonardtown's not resting on their laurels. They're building on this success and this track record. So, the next one. And the next one. So, before we got involved, the mayor, Rykell, the council have already set in motion a plan, a vision for the future. And next slide. And that was a big part of that was implemented with the waterfront. Impressive. So you start to see when implementation happens, you build confidence in the community. And so we started down at the bottom here, and the brilliance of the mayor, Rykell, and council working here is looking at things in incremental steps. You don't have to do everything at once. You don't have to spend $1 billion to get something done. You could work incrementally. And so this is kind of where we started. We got involved after the vision plan and waterfront was developed, and we've gone up in these different steps, and here we are at the top for the phase 3 strategic plan. But it started with small steps, the facade improvement workshop that I got to meet with a bunch of business owners looking at opportunities to improve the facades. The next one, the phase 1 strategic plan that we updated the vision plan. And starting with the square, and again, I was so excited, Katie, to hear you talk about the physical component of the square, the buildings facing on, because when I heard of Leonardtown, but I'd never been here. I'm up in Baltimore, And when I first looked at Google Earth and saw the square, I said, oh my God, this is an amazing town. I can't wait to get down there. But we came down and there really wasn't any activity on the store. There was activity in the businesses, but no one was out hanging out in the square, sitting outside. So a big part of this was, what are some simple things that can be done right away? And we timidly suggested, what if you remove some parking spaces and put in some outdoor dining? And we're going to lose parking. But I won't say it was a blessing to have the pandemic, but the pandemic really accelerated things. And so, the next one. So that put the tide in motion to start getting outdoor dining, start activating the square. We saw from temporary seating to more permanent seating that we had in many of the restaurants we enjoyed last night. And then even Joe, I quoted you at one point where you said, I can sit 20 customers where I used to park 2 cars. I think you said something like that. But having that activity on the square has really invigorated the downtown. The next slide. And then check mark, Leonardtown accomplished that. We moved on to the alley plan and did some visions. Lachelle would get so excited walking us through the alley saying, what if we did this? What if we did this? And sure enough, the next time we came to town, y'all did it. In the next slide. And then the wayfinding and branding, and Sean and Tripp's brilliant work with the brand and the wayfinding, that's incorporated in all aspect arts, our pins, the murals. Next slide. And then we came back for the phase 2 strategic plan to look broader at the waterfront, the connections. And what a tremendous gift to be able to have this waterfront to connect off to the port of Leonardtown, the opportunities to enhance the waterfront, some new parks connecting Tudor Hall Farm with downtown. Next slide. We keep seeing this ongoing investment. We heard from Sean and Joe about some of the things happening. And this diagram on the right, what's really exciting is how we see some of the businesses seated at Shepherd's Old Field, that they're moving onto the square. Maybe there's some opportunities that some of those move to the waterfront, or some businesses in the square have a presence at the waterfront. So this starting small in Leonardtown and then building on that success has really been a wonderful thing to see. And so building on the success for the phase 3 of the plan, we already heard from Katie at the Bank of America, the potential to transform that. Next slide. But it's important we have all these incremental successes. It's important we don't lose the big picture, and that's where Leonardtown has been so successful with the big picture. As Tudor Hall Farm comes on board, how does that link to downtown? How does that become a seam and not a barrier? And I remember, when we first came down here 5 years ago, talking with Rodney and some of the other developers, we were so impressed. We work all over the country, and a lot of times, new development happening on the outside of town are looking to create gated communities or create their own little hub, and they don't want to have anything to do with the downtown. And every developer we talked to here said, hey, we want to connect to that. Downtown is why we're here. Downtown is a big asset to us. So we don't want to lose that big picture as Tudor Hall Farm grows. Next slide. And a big focus of what we'll be doing in phase 3 is looking at that transition zone from the west side of the downtown, looking at the wharf, looking at expanding the food hall concept, looking at the Fenwick Lawn area in the next slide. And so we'll be focusing on these 3 primary areas. And so it's not just physical planning, but it's also market related. We'll be updating the economic analysis. We have a recruitment package that we'll be passing out shortly that Tripp and Sean prepared. And then we'll be looking at putting out a request for proposals for the wharf and expanded concept there. So I'd like to turn it over to Tripp now, and thank you all.
You always end with the numbers guy, I don't know. One of the things that when we envision this morning's State of the City, State of the Town address, what we envisioned was presenting this ecosystem that you all have created. You all have created an ecosystem here that supports and sustains and community, and supports and sustains the economy, and creates opportunities for businesses to expand, to thrive, and to come into the community with a variety of options, whether it's Shepherd's Oldfields, whether it's the vision for the auto dealership, whether it's the vision for the Bank of America, whether it's the future plan. And at the end of the day, we're passing out the marketing piece. This is what we hope that you all can use, a tool that you all can use to tell the story of this community and present what the opportunities are. Next slide. And one of the things I do as a market analyst is kind of, how do we define this market? Well, it's become even more interesting as we've worked here through the years, and we're working with the county and we're working with tourism, is that within a 20-minute drive time of the square, we're looking at a population of 63,000 residents that's going to grow by another 2,400 by 2008. Your median household income here is $105,000. That exceeds that of the state of Maryland, which is one of the highest median household incomes in America, by about $15,000. It's phenomenal when we look, your median age, 37.8. I work in a lot of communities, that age kind of meanders between 41 and 34, having 37 there, right where we want to have it. And then the package that you have, and I'm not going through all these numbers because we're reaching the end of our time limit, presents the opportunities for existing businesses to expand. It presents the opportunity for new business ideas to thrive, and it shares the data on that market that you all have captured. And these are conservative estimates, and they're conservative for several reasons. Whether we're looking at home furnishings, I'm going to do next slide, go through these quick, specialty food, health and personal care, looking at beverage and dining. As much as you've got, there's still room for more in this market. Phenomenal. Clothing and accessories, hobbies, toys, games, and books, kind of a overall category, and the specialty retail. All of this is in your package. And then the other part of this ecosystem, and you've heard from these partners here, is not only is there a private sector ecosystem that exists with your product, the demand is here from your market, and your partners are here. And so you'll find in this package the partners that spoke today, the town of Leonardtown, the Leonardtown Business Association, St. Mary's County Economic Development, and Visit St. Mary's. Each one of those is presented here with a handy QR code to scan to take you to those sites. What we hope you will do is share the information you have here. Use this information as you continue to work to make this a phenomenal place. I'm reaching the point in my career where it's a little over 25 years that we've worked together, Tom, and we were walking back to the hotel after dinner, and I said, why can't they all be like this? And we really mean that in earnest. Why can't all communities be like this? You all have something really special here. You're working on preserving the history of this place while continuing to grow and making a place that people want to be. And we're really humbled and honored to be a small, small part of that as the outsiders coming into town. Thank you for this, and we'll hand it over to Lachelle.
Thank you so much. You guys have been an important part of it, actually. Thank you. Okay, we're about ready to wrap up. Real quickly, I wanted to thank the Rex and Social Coffee House and Flower Donuts and Bakery for the great food. Flower is getting ready to open in the Bell Building. That's Ricky and Elise Rice and their daughter Katie. Thank you. We're going to go ahead and wrap up. We can take a couple questions if anybody has anything that they would like to ask. Otherwise, we have some tables set up back there. The consultants will be back there at the table, and you're welcome to browse and talk to anyone. But is there anyone that has any questions for anyone that spoke, or anything that I can answer for you? No? Good? Everybody knows everything? Good. All right, thank you all so much for coming. It was a wonderful morning. Thank you.